Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to go through some brief updates just to let you guys know how important it is to make sure that you're getting the separate dual agency and designated agency forms filled out. Remember, dual agency is when you yourself are representing buyer, seller, or landlord or tenant. Remember, dual agency is also if you and your husband or wife or team member are doing representing buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, or doing a dual agency. Still considered a dual agency because you're sharing files. Also, the last scenario would be if I am representing the buyer or the seller or the landlord or the tenant and you are representing the other side. That would still be considered a dual agency. So again, make sure you use the dual agency. Designated agency would be if you or someone else in this office who is completely separate from you. Now, the board could say you guys work together on a regular basis, so we designate you as a team. So be careful with that. If you're working with someone on a regular basis, then it could be considered a dual agency. It's better to disclose than not disclose. That's all I have to say. So if you think for 1 second, hey, listen, I work with this person on a regular basis, I probably should just go ahead and use a dual form. It's better to do that than to use the designated form. And then later, the board has a problem with that, right? It's better to do the dual agency than not do the dual agency. So make sure that separate form is signed for all transactions that, of course, apply for dual or designated representation. Remember, designated representation would be someone else in this office that you're working with. Again, they're going to be representing the buyer, the seller, or the landlord tenant, and you're representing the other side. Okay, so don't forget to use those. Also, do not forget to disclose to unrepresented people. If you are working with a buyer and you are selling them a for sale by owner or for military by owner.com or Craigslist by owner, anytime you have someone who is not represented by an agent, you must get the disclosure of agency representation for unrepresented buyers or unrepresented people. So make sure that you get that filled out. It's very, very, very important. You must disclose in writing that who you are working with. Now, remember, on this form, in fact, I should actually go ahead and pull up this form for you really quickly. This is so important. Remember, on this form, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be checking the box of the person that you are representing and making sure that the other person who is not represented signs the agreement. So here we go. We're going to pull it up real quick. Disclosure of brokerage relationship. Let's see if this one should be it right here. And I'm going to show you guys. So this is just a one-page form, but it is required. So remember, if you're representing the seller and in walks someone to your open house, it is very, very, very important that you get them to sign this agreement. Okay? So again, if the buyer or the seller or the landlord or the tenant is not represented, this form needs to be filled out. I'm sorry it's taking so long here. Let's go back while we're waiting. Okay, so the next one is no escrow checks in the operating account. Absolutely not. If you have a deposit check, whether it be property management, whether it be a rental, which by the way, please do not collect checks that do not belong to us. Unless we are managing the property, we do not hold the deposit. Okay, so again, unless we are managing the property, you will take the deposit, and of course, it'll be made out to Move for Free Realty escrow, and we're going to be putting it in the escrow account. Turn that check in. Hopefully, it's certified funds because the office policy is certified funds. So you're going to take one of the checklists that's on my door, and you're going to be making a copy of that check, and then you're going to clearly mark that it is a deposit. Okay, it's very important that you do this because I will not know. Okay, so I need you guys to make sure that you're following procedure here. Do not have anyone wire money into our accounts that is supposed to be a deposit. Do not collect the check. Even if they make it out to you, do not take it. Just tell them, hey, listen, that doesn't go to us. That goes to the owner directly since we're not managing the property. So if you don't mind, can you take it back to your bank and have it made out to the owner? because they can do that. They can actually go back to the bank, even if it's certified funds, they can go back to the bank and don't collect it, because this makes my accounting very difficult. And if I get an IRS audit, I have to explain to the IRS audit that you accidentally collected money. And this could happen several years down the road, and I'm going to have to look up why this happened. It makes my life difficult. So please, please, please don't do it. And of course, occasionally Sandy will check on the box as she sees me write a check to the owner, which just recently happened. She marked the box that the owner had been paid. Obviously it was a mistake, clearly a misunderstanding. But then, of course, I got the checklist and saw that the owner had been paid and did not pay the owner because I saw that Sandy had marked the box. Okay, so again, I have these checklists and for a reason. So if you guys don't mind, just don't collect extra funds we don't need, and then we can avoid little misunderstandings. And then, of course, the process is much, much easier. And so, again, no escrow checks in the operating account, period. Do not have people wire it in. And do not collect it if it doesn't belong to us, only if we're managing the property, and of course if it's a good faith deposit. Do not deposit good faith deposits on your own. Call me first if you're having a situation, and of course deliver it, and you have 3 days to turn it in. All right, so the next one, use our NVAR application and check it to make sure it's filled out completely. I'm telling you guys this because if you submit an application for your tenant to any other company, they will reject it immediately if it is not completely filled in. If they do not have their previous landlord's phone number, their account numbers or whatever is on the actual application, if there's missing spaces, they will reject it. And then you guys wasted your time. And of course, your client misses out on the opportunity. And really, technically, it's your fault. So make sure that you're checking it before you turn it in. Of course, I don't like to receive them not filled out either, so I'm going to call you, but of course I'm just looking at the bigger picture of you submitting it to other companies. I want you to know, and never use anything other than our MVAR application unless of course the listing company or property management company says please use this application. I understand it if they do that. Other than that, use our standard MVAR application. It's there for a reason, and it's got the signature page. Make sure those signatures are there to allow us to run credit. There is training on contracts today, starting actually in a couple minutes. So if you guys don't mind, if you have any questions or if you have any concerns or you need practice, and please don't tell me you don't need practice unless you've done this many, many times. You probably need some practice, and of course there's always room for improvement on your contracts. So feel free to come in. I'll be here until 6 o'clock doing this training today. Make sure that everybody understands their agency agreements. That's your buyer, broker, your exclusive right to represent the tenant, your listing agreements, which is the most important because you guys want to get a lot of listings, don't you? You need to have confidence when you're doing your listing presentations, and part of that is going through the actual agreement. And then, of course, your regional sales contracts and other forms. Okay, back to that disclosure of brokerage relationship for unrepresented party. Here's that form right here. The undersigned unrepresented parties do hereby acknowledge disclosure that the licensee, that would be your name, with Move for Free Realty, represents only the following party in the sale of, lease of, and then you're going to put the property address, 123 Main Street, right? Now, you're going to mark the box of who you represent, and you're going to have the unrepresented person sign. For instance, if I am doing an open house and in walks a potential buyer, I am going to mark the seller's box because I am representing the seller, and I'm going to have that buyer sign this form. If I am representing the buyer and I'm walking in on a for sale by owner, I'm going to check the buyer box and I'm going to make sure that the seller signs it. Same thing, of course, you guys know with your landlord and tenant. So you check the box of who you represent and have the person who you are not representing sign it. Okay, thanks guys. That's all for now.